Hello, welcome to Space Age Consulting's tutorial on how to edit your church's sermon for podcast using Audacity. Audacity is a free program, easily downloadable from the internet, and we're going to take you through the process. The first thing you do is go to audacity.soundforge.net. Because we're using Windows 7, we're going to be using the Windows version, and we're going to go ahead and install this on our system. See, it's a very quick download, and it's very easy to install, and it's free, and that's very important when churches are just getting started out with their audio ministry or recording for podcasting. It's important to start out with economical products. So we're going to start out with a free product. Now mine already exists, but we're just going to go through the process so that you can see how simple it is. And there you go, just that quick. Audacity is installed. So now as we bring up the program, we're going to there are many different ways that you can bring your church's audio into the system. You can either record directly to your computer. You can record using an audio interface that will record to an SD card, or it will record to a CD. And then what you would have to do is copy the file over to your computer that has Audacity. Normally the easiest way is just to record it to the computer with Audacity already installed. But sometimes you'll get your CD from a different department, from the audio department. One of the easiest ways to rip a CD is just to use Windows Media Player. And as you'll see here, we have a CD. We're going to insert the CD and then rip it. I'm not certain if the Mac equivalent, what the Mac equivalent would be, but we would just be able to, you pull up the CD and now you see the different tracks. Remember to check the format that you would use. Under Windows Media Player, you can easily check the format that you're going to be recording to, and you'll see these options right here. Normally I would record to WAV just because it's a completely lossless quality. We're going to be compressing for podcasting anyway, and you're going to lose some detail. So it's best when you first start editing to have as much detail as possible. Even though you can use Windows Media lossless, it's best if you avoid it because there may be some programs that don't like the WMV format. So you can stick with WAV or MP3. MP3 is a much more compressed format. And then, because we're using WAV, the quality is going to be the best quality there is. But if you choose a different format, you would have to also set the audio quality. So we're going with WAV. And then we're just going to rip it, and you can see how easy the process is. Now, because we've already ripped it earlier, we're just going to go ahead and skip this part so you don't have to wait through the whole thing. And we're going to see how you edit this file. So you can go to File, Open. Now, it's very important that you establish a good file format for archiving and for bringing in your audio to be edited. You want a good file format and a great naming convention for your file so that you'll be able to establish this early, and other people will know exactly how to create the format, exactly how to have everything inputted, and it'll stay the same for everyone. So no matter who's working on that particular day, your file formatting will be the same, your file convention will be the same. Now, the convention I use would be the pastor's name, that's the person who spoke, the title of the sermon, and then the date. Some people put the date first, so it's easier to search through that way. But it really depends on what system works for you. No system may work for every individual process. The other thing I do is I create a text file with the exact same name and convention, and then put in additional information there, such as if there was a guest singer, if there's a specific key topic, or if there was a text that they used. And this makes it easier to do searches later on. You can just search through the text files for the information, and then apply that to the name of the audio file of the same name. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and open this file. And what this warning is whether you want to copy or just edit on the file directly. It's always safer to copy the file before editing. That way you have a non-destructive edit. You're not destroying your original copy. In some instances, it's not such a big deal when you're working off of a CD, because you have the CD as backup. But in other cases, if you're recording directly to the computer, if you edited and cut out something that you didn't mean to, there's no way to get that back. So it's always a great idea to make a copy, and that's what we're going to do here. You see how quickly this loads right in. That just took a few seconds. And then the waveform will come up. If you're familiar with a waveform, it's exactly the same as it would be in many other programs. So as you can see the waveform, you know that the higher the wave, the more volume. And you can see there's certain sections here where it looks like there might have been a problem, whether it's a dropped microphone or a semblance or a explosive. And so we're going to listen to these. The rest of the waveform looks great, so we're going to concentrate on these for a second.
Now, when we had our first child, which has been years ago, that was back in 1960.
You heard that? That's a plosive. As he's saying a word with a P in it, it popped on the microphone. Now, there's a couple of different ways you can fix that issue. We're going to zoom in here for a second. And this is your zoom tool. This is your draw tool. You can draw around something. And this is your edit tool. You hear that pop?
1960.
So if you want, we can zoom in just a bit more so we know we're only affecting that section. And we're going to normalize it even more. So right now it's set to -12. Let's do -16. Because we really want to compress that, crush that sound, I should say.
Ah,
you see how well we've done with getting rid of that pop? Okay, we're going to zoom out now. You're going to see that there's a couple of other places where he did that. And you can use that same technique. You'll be able to use that same technique to get rid of those sections. Alright, there's a spot right here.
An abiding peace in your...
Yeah, see? So what you do is, once again, we're just going to highlight this section, go to normalize, take it down -16 dB.
Peace in your soul. An abiding peace in your soul.
Yeah, there's very little ways using Audacity that we'll be able to get rid of that completely. But you can see what a difference we've made. So we'll be able to clean up the audio to much better than if you had just copied this up to your podcast. The next thing you can do is set a fade in and fade out at the beginning. Now, because this was a well-established recording, you may not have such a problem, but let's see how it starts out. So we're going to go to the start, make sure we go back to our Selection tool.
Preachers have in their repertoire of sermons. I believe most preachers.
You see, it starts out fairly well.
Of sermons.
What we can do is, you'll see how the fade in works. Just highlight a small section. It's effect, fade in. Then,
I believe most preachers have in their repertoire of sermons a sermon that may be entitled.
See the gradual increase? Gradual increase, but it may look like we have too much selected. So what we can do is go back just a little. You take the same selection, go back just a little, and then put your fade in.
I believe most preachers have in their repertoire of sermon.
See? See, you get that gradual increase. Then you go to the very end and do the same thing. Just do a slow fade out under effect, fade out. Take a few seconds depending on the speed of your system.
Oh, he healed me. With his stripes, we're healed. So my question to you this morning is, why would you?
Okay, that once again, that's too much because you're cutting off the very end of his sermon. But that's how you would do it. You highlight the section and you do a fade out. Within this program, you could also bring in, let's say you recorded an outro, and you can bring in the outro and add it to this so that when you save the file, you'll have an intro, the sermon, and then an outro. You could also include music, but then you have to deal with copyright issues. You can include the text for the sermon. You can also record those at different times and put them in. It does add some complexity to what you're doing. It adds time, but it makes for a very rich product where someone knows when they come to listen to your podcast, they'll get the text. You know, these people might be working out while they listen to it. They wouldn't be able to bring up the text on their own, or they might be listening to it in the car, downloaded from an MP3 player. And these are great ways for you to enhance your product to stand out just a bit. You'll be able to have a complete service, and it's a product that you can be happy to give to people. You never know where your products will go, so it's very important that you put the best face on it that you possibly can. So I hope we've helped you. Oh, before I go, I forgot. Not only can you save your project, which would include what effects you put on it, what edits you did to it, but you have to also export it now into a format that can be read by your program. Once again, we can do WAV formats, AIFF, which is more of an Apple format, MP3 format. If you do MP3s, you're going to have to download an MP3 encoder and decoder, but that's also free, and the program will tell you that. And there's so many other formats. Once again, I usually do WAV format so that it's an uncompressed, so that when you do upload it to your podcast site, the compression won't be so much that you take off some very good quality. So I hope you've learned something from this tutorial on how to use Audacity to... Once again, this is Robert Baker with Space Age Consulting, hoping you will sign up and look for more of our tutorials to come. Thank you.